now.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Still muted. Okay, how about now? I just love all the technical difficulties. One more time. My name is Juli Pitra, and we're here for my Thursday talk about Pitranomics, my 10-part strategy to grow, protect, and transfer wealth. So there are a couple of things I'm going to do differently. Last week, I wanted to make sure if there are any new people, you knew a little bit about me, just in case you didn't know anything about me. But I am originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado. And then I left Colorado and went to Georgia Tech and got a degree in nuclear engineering, Ramblin' Wreck. And I spent 7 years in the electric generation industry, power industry. Decided to leave there, go get my MBA, and it's where I met my husband. So I got a degree and a degree and a life partner. He's been wonderful. His name is Andre. We've been married almost 27 years. We've got 2 kids. I spent a lot of time being a stay-at-home wife and mom, and decided at 50, I'm going to do something else. So that's when I decided I wanted to get into real estate investing. As a result of that, I became a realtor because I'm a bit of a control freak. So I wanted to understand all of the process. And through that, through my investing, through being a great mentee to some mentors, able to coach. And now I am sharing my dream, my vision, my thoughts about wealth and financial security and life optimization. And that's through Pitranomics. And I'm so glad to be able to bring now an amazing special guest. And we welcome Shelyna Tinglin. She's a really good friend. I love this woman. She's an entrepreneur, and she was an educator. Thank you. Former educator for 15 years. So love having this wonderful woman in the educational system. And she's an accomplished and published author. So as the CEO of Tinglin Coaching and Consulting, she's a certified mentor, and I can verify that she's great at that. Professional speaker and real estate broker, and we're on the same real estate team. With a master's degree in educational leadership, she has a passion for teaching. And what's interesting is when her passion reaches out, it kind of ignites my passion. I love that from you. Thank you so much. But Shelyna captivates audiences with her passion and her motivational speaking. And she weaves personal experiences, logic, technical experience. She does a whole lot, and she makes you learn without even knowing about it, and it's fun. She is one of the most giving people I have ever known. She's a beautiful person. She's also involved in many community roles, including serving educational committees, the board of directors for real estate associations. And I don't know how you do that, but I'm so glad that you do. And she's a member of one of the Divine 9 Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I can say that with pride, even though I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, because I'm not active. And so I am impressed that she is actively participating in her sorority. So, Miss Shelyna, thank you so much for joining.
My pleasure. I am excited to be here. Julie is one of my favorite people, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Are you pinned or are you not pinned? I can't tell from my screen because I want to see your lovely face big too.
And you would be so proud of me. I got it to go live in the Facebook group. So they are watching it. I think they're watching it in the Facebook group.
Awesome. So hi to the great Facebook group. So thank you for joining. I am going to try and start this presentation because what we talk about tonight is who is in your lifeboat. That's one of the strategies in Pitranomics. And the full thing is who is in your lifeboat. Are they helping you to swim or paddling along with you, or are they causing you to sink? And I had this up. I always have a trouble doing this. So just give me a little bit of patience getting this going, because I'm so proud that Miss Shamir helps me with my presentations. So let's go to this. I'm sharing screen. Am I sharing screen? Not yet. Am I sharing screen? Not yet. Here I am. Am I sharing screen? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm also at the end of the presentation. I'm going to get it, y'all. One day I'll do this so flawlessly. So tonight we're talking in your lifeboat from the perspective of growing your network. And it's really important that you're intentional about the relationships that you foster and who you allow in your inner circle. Really, really crucial, at least to me. And I can share a personal story about that today. So there are 10 strategies in the Pitranomics. That's going to sound stupid. Pitranomics is a 10-part strategy. And here are the 10 strategies. Take a moment to bask in the 10 strategies, because today we're going to talk about the third one. Who is in my lifeboat? So when I said before, are they helping me to row or are they causing me to sink? And growing your network is all about being intentional and curating your inner circle. Now, it doesn't mean you can't get along with other people. It doesn't mean you can't work with other people. It doesn't mean that you're asocial. It doesn't mean any of that. But those that are in your network, those that you show your vulnerable side to, those that you share your triumphs with, because not everybody wants to see you triumph. So you share those with the people who celebrate it with you. You share your vulnerabilities with the people that support you and help you stand back up and grow. And you share it with the people that love you and wish the best with you and are not scheming with the enemy against you. So I wanted to take a quick minute to put her information up there. Anybody want to take a screenshot? Make sure they have that. Your phone number's not there, but we can always include it in the chat. Look at that smile. I want from a place of goodness. And Shelyna has a good seat in my lifeboat. Don't spend as much time with her as I would like. But when I need her, particularly to say something to somebody so I don't irrevocably damage the relationship, she's my first go-to person. She's got the good words. So what is networking? Shelyna,
Yes.
please tell me your thoughts on that. What is networking?
Oh, I used to think networking was just meeting people, just getting a business card, finding out somebody's name. And that is not networking. Networking is being intentional. And I honestly believe your network will help you with your net worth. And what I mean by that is if I am constantly networking with what some people might be considered bottom feeders, and I'll explain what I mean by that. It's not meant to be offensive. Let me explain what I mean by that. It's people who really just do not want to excel. They have a reason for why everything happens, and it's always someone else's fault. You can give them the $1 million and they'll still say it's not enough. And so when you're thinking about networking, you have to be intentional about the who and the where. So networking for me is truly about understanding who, where, and what are my intentions. It's growing with people and growing around people into the conversations that they create.
Wow, I am so glad
that quote right there that you had there. That's perfect. I did not see that.
See, we think alike.
I love it.
I will say that 2023 kicked my butt. Stressed out, tired, irritated, and I'm trying to maintain my spirit this year. And 2024 is coming at me with both fists. It's like Muhammad Ali is in the room with me. But one of the things I've decided I'm going to do is to make time for the wonderful people that I have that lift me up and I can lift them up, because this world sometimes can be a beatdown. And there's no sense struggling alone when you have a resource, when you have a network. So thank you very much for saying that. I absolutely love that. One of the things I talk about is synergy. Would you like to speak on how to identify synergy or how that works for you?
So for me, I'll give you a great example today. So I sit on a lot of boards. I chair a lot of things. I do a lot of activities. I'm also a licensed minister. So I am all over the place doing the things. And when sometimes you walk into a room And I look at that synergy as, oh man, you know what? I could connect with that person right there. And I didn't even say a word. And sometimes I talk to people and they say, man, it's really hard for me to do that. Well, guess what? Your person is in the room too, the person who doesn't want to talk to people. So what I understand is when I walk in the room, I'm intentional about making eye contact. I'm looking at the people in the room and I'm figuring out who can I network and community with. And so today I walk into the room and it was a lot of people in that room, and some were intentional about not wanting to look at you, about not wanting to speak. But there was this young lady sitting in this chair, and immediately I look at her and, we give pleasantries. And then I circle back around. I said, I don't know you, but I feel like we need to go have coffee, lunch, or something. And we start talking and find out we got a lot of similarities and locations. And so it's that energy. When you walk in a room, you kind of get the feeling like, oh, this ain't gonna work. The energy is low, people are negative. And then sometimes it's walking in a room and saying, okay, I can do this. These are my people. Like, this is a place I can grow. You'll know the moment you walk in. And sometimes it takes us a little bit longer to figure that out because we're trying to insert ourselves in a place where we might not even belong in that room, or we belong in that room and we feel like we have to convince people we belong there. I'm not convincing anybody of anything. Either you're here for me or you ain't. It's too many people in this world to be focused on, let me change the dynamics of that room. No, if you don't like the synergy in that room, go create your own room. And you create the synergy that you want around you, and that's the people that will come to you.
I totally agree with that. I agree with all of that. And people do give off an energy. Mm-hmm. And if you walk into a room and it's like a cacophony of different frequencies that are assailing you, just come into peace with yourself. You have to walk into a networking place centered in who you are. Because if you're all jittery, you're not going to be able to find that synergy with someone else. So find your peace. When I go into a networking opportunity, I usually am looking for a type of person or a type of capability. And I usually have it written down, and I will show you, like, I'll pretend this is like a little, piece of paper, and I'll just keep it there. And I'm walking with it. So, because it's a little visual reminder to tell me, why am I here? What am I trying to do?
And you should have goals when you're going out to networking.
You should have goals.
I just want to be in the room. No, I want to go in the room and I want to be intentional about meeting 3 new friends. And I think sometimes people go just to go and they walk out, they haven't met anyone, they haven't set up appointments. And networking, there's a science to this thing. Like, you should be sending thank you notes or cards within 24 hours after meeting someone. And that helps.
If you want to.
Well, first of all, if you don't want to be partnering with that person, don't be taking their information. Don't lie to them, tell them, I'm going to follow up with you later. Don't change who you are just to network with someone. So I know a lot of people say, I'm going to match that energy. No, I'm not that person that's going to match energy, because that means I've given you the power to change me, and that's not happening. So if our energy does not sync up, we're just not made for each other. But I'm also not going to take your information. I'm going to tell you, oh, you know what? It was nice to meet you. You have a great day. No, I don't have a business card, which I don't. I use digital, but you don't have to give everybody access to you just because you went to the same networking event.
Exactly. I love all of that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And then once you identify someone, what's the best way to seek growth in that relationship? Ooh, so I'm gonna let you throw yours out, and then I'll throw mine out.
Don't be a taker. I mean, it's when you're going into these relationships, don't be the person that you're always taking from someone and you give nothing in return. And I'm not telling you to match financially. I'm not telling you that you have to be leap years ahead of them. It could be the small stuff. And here's the thing that I like to do. I always like to tell people, is there anything in the world that I could do for you? I don't care what level they are on. I'm still is there anything in the world that I could do for you? And one of the things I love about that is it doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter their financial status. I don't care if you're the CEO or the janitor. It does not bother me, your status. I'm still going to ask you, is there anything in the world I can do for you? And then I follow up with asking people, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Most people don't know how to answer that. They haven't thought that far out. So now, not only am I building relationship by asking you, what can I do for you? I'm also asking you, what are your goals? Because I'm interested in that. And now either I might know somebody who can help you, or I might know how to get you from point A to point B, or I can be a sounding board, an accountability partner. Because sometimes, and I usually, when I look at Juli, I think what usually gets me frustrated is that people will take your time and contribute nothing back. And I'm like, oh, I need to get Juli charged for that. The next time somebody asks, put a fee on that, because they'll take and then not apply. So now you've given all that you can give to pour into this person to build the relationship. And then you meet with them again and they still on that same sinking boat. I got to get off that boat. We can't both sink together. I'm trying to help you. So how can
I've gotten a lot better.
Yay!
I've gotten a lot better. I have to say, let me tell you how I met Shelyna. So I'm a realtor at EXP. Shelyna was a realtor at EXP, and I had this list I was just frustrated with. And so I just put out there in our group chat, hey, I'm having troubles. This is my listing. Somebody help me. And Shelyna, through her text, popped in with this ray of sunshine, and she was like, try this, do this. And then she called me, and your voice is so bubbly. And so I love that. And I was able to implement some of the things that she said, but what was really crucial was how much encouragement you put in with your assistants. It wasn't just, you dummy, you need to do this. It was like, hey, do this or do this. It's already great. You're doing well. Just add these few things. It's going to work out. I was like, she's cheering. She doesn't even know me, but she's cheering. And I love that. I love that. You have this great spirit that you share. And sometimes, put up some of the boundaries and say, hold up now, don't suck it dry.
We're working on that. We're working on that. I talked to somebody today. They said, do you know what boundaries are? I said, who's that? She said, that's a problem.
Who is that? There you go. Who are they? We have a comment from Facebook. It's like, we don't have to have imposter syndrome to try and fit in. It's best to be unapologetically you. And I couldn't, thank you, Shantae. I couldn't agree anymore, because it's the worst thing to be your avatar of a person, and you put that out there and you meet somebody else's avatars. You two are getting along, and then, or those two, and then you meet and you're like, yeah, I don't like this person. And they're like, we don't like you. So for better or for worse, there's a whole lot of me that comes out in the beginning. Now it's gotten better, because when I first got into real estate and started going to these networking events that I didn't want to go to, if someone talked to me and I didn't like them, my response was, I'm going to save your time and mine. I'm not feeling this interaction, so you just need to go ahead and go away. And the first few times I did that, people were like, is she for real? I was like, no, I'm totally serious. Because I said it with a smile. But you just need to step away.
That's the scary part, is when I'm smiling and you don't know if that smile is.
You need to go ahead and go. Yeah. So I'm better at that, but I still don't spend too much time in a crowded room with those people who suck my energy dry.
Yeah, and to Shantae's point, we think that we have to fit this quota of what everyone else in the room looks like. I am not about to put on 6-inch heels to impress you all. I grew up as a tomboy. We climbing walls, we playing sports, we boxing it out. I'm not about to I need to be able to run when it's time to run. And me in heels. Now, not to say that I won't ever, but I'm not doing it because someone says, well, you need to look this way to be in the room. Then maybe that's not the room for me. If they can't accept me wearing my blazer, I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. I'm a New York Giants fan. I hate the Cowboys. So, I mean, if you can't accept me coming into the room, I don't know what to tell you. That's just who I am.
Not my problem.
Talk about them.
And if you want to wear heels, here's another thing. On the flip side, like, I like to go pretty casually now, but I have been at networking events where I've heard somebody say, who does she think she is dressing like that? She's not going to a club. I was like, if she is strutting her stuff and feels comfortable, or he, no judgment. If you feel like you want to come in a certain way and you're comfortable within yourself, it's kind of like scooting out all the people you don't even need to talk to anyway.
I applaud them. I'm like, Listen, the way that you just walked in them heels, it couldn't have been me, sis, because I'd have tripped 3 steps ago. But don't put me to the test because I can wear it and wear it well. I just choose to be comfortable.
Choose
And
not
if I'm
to.
comfortable,
Exactly.
I teach. And sometimes I'll teach a 5-hour class. And it don't end at the end of 5 hours because we got to get there early. We got to stay late. You can see some of the photos on how I teach. I don't want anyone to feel like you have to dress down or you have to dress up. Whatever you're comfortable in, be that. And don't try to appease anyone. Look, Shantae says she wear Air Force Ones. Listen, whatever you rocking, rock that and be confident, because here's the thing, your clientele who's gonna want to work with you will work with you. I have some people who, if I come dressed up, they're gonna be like, you all right? Everything, you good at home? Everything good? You need to do laundry?
It's a massive change. What happened? What happened?
Right.
And
So be
here's the thing
authentically
about
you.
exactly. And here's the thing about networking that people sometimes forget. It should be fun. It should be
Yeah.
enriching. You should come away from the process like, oh my gosh, I met this wonderful person, or oh my gosh, I reconnected with a wonderful person, or oh my gosh, I got to sit with someone I really respect.
Yeah.
And there are people in this world that when I spend time with them, I'm like, my cup is full.
Yeah, that's good. And I tell people, don't get it twisted. I'll throw on a pair of Louis Vuitton sneakers, but that ain't who I am 24/7. I might have on some Air Force Ones with a blazer, some jeans, and I will rock that classroom. So if any of you went to the Blast Off event where I presented 3 times, that is exactly what I had on. And I bought my shoes and I said, I'm on change. And somebody walked past and said, don't, just be comfortable. I needed that reminder myself to be who I was authentically, because I know when I teach, I don't stand still. I'm either walking
No,
through
you don't. Yeah.
around people. I got to move and be amongst the people. And I got to see who's on Amazon and not paying attention. So I walk around.
Walk around. And here's another thing about networking. So if you have you ever gone to, well, I think most of us have probably been some kind of sporting event, right? And you've gone to see a team that's filled with talent, but they don't work together.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work together well. And they get totally smashed by a team that maybe doesn't have all the talent, but they have the synergy.
Yes.
They're each making each other better. You're recruiting for your team when you go out into the world. And you don't have to go to a networking event to network.
Correct.
Always be recruiting for the special people in your lives, because you never know when you might meet one.
Listen, I do it on social media. You know, a lot of people will, and it's so weird because I was on social media. I was on Facebook long before anybody could be on there. You had to have a college email address to be on there. So networking was a little bit easier because everybody knew everybody. Now you'll get random people who friend you, you'll accept it, and then there's no intentionality there. There's no relationship there. You wait till they post something. How about the next time someone friends you and you accept it, you send them a message and say, hey, thank you so much for friending me. I'm not sure how we know each other, but tell me more about what it is you do. Get to know this person. Even on Instagram, if someone follows me who I don't know, I block them. I know some people like, you block them. Yes, because there's too much spam going on out there. And I have seen, I got spam one time, this, I don't know what kind of company it was. There's about 200 of them liked one of my posts. I took the time, I had time that day and blocked every single one of them because I don't know them. So if I look and I see, okay, we could connect, cool, reach out, go in the DM and say, hey, how do we know each other? Tell me more about what it is you do. I'd love to have the opportunity to chat with you, get to know more about your business, and maybe we can collaborate.
And to take that even a little further, when you go into a situation, be approachable, be engaging, because you never know when some energy you put out there is going to connect with someone and they're going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
And I just want to shout out to Eben, who's on here. We were on some Zoom and he gave me a call. He was like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things you said. And now you're one of my best, most consistent attendees, and I love it. And we've never met in person, but we chatted for a while. So I love that I'm able to have met someone and connected with someone just from my energy. And then he called and his energy, it's a match. It's great. We have wonderful conversations. Sometimes we have conversations longer. We're like, okay, we still got to do this work, but wait a minute, I just got one more thing to say. And you can become a resource. You can become a source of encouragement. You can become a lot. So what is networking? To me, networking is you are scouting the field for your Lifeboat roster.
Mm-hmm.
You're scouting the field. So I
And
don't
it's
know.
okay if you leave that networking event and you don't have a contact, but what was your intention going in? Did you have the intention that I'm going to meet 3 new people? Because sometimes people will go to networking events and they'll look for who in the room do I already know. That is not going to help you grow. And we can have different lifeboats. We can have boats in different categories. That won't help you if you're constantly trying to gravitate to who, let me go talk to who do I know in the room. So I had to be intentional about, one thing, I'm a graduate and alumni of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program. And one of the things that we learned through that program is the power of connecting, the power of meeting new people, the power of sharing who you are, what you do, and how can I help someone else. So if I walk in the room and Julie already knows what I do, she knows my story, we can go grab coffee any day of the week. Why am I huddled up in the corner versus going
to business
new? So go and meet somebody new. Don't be afraid of people. Don't be afraid of them.
Exactly. So we have a comment from Facebook that they like that, recruiting for your team in life. Of course, always. Because, how did you meet the people that you have close to you? You met them by being accessible and open, and the connection that's forged from your being your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep those people that are connected to the inauthentic sense of yourself. Yeah. And so I think everyone on here, if you don't know me personally, you've connected with me through somebody that I've connected with. So that goes, here's the thing, you connect with somebody, you don't know who you're going to meet through that connection.
Yeah.
So they may not be the potential lifeboat partner, but they're the finder that gets you your lifeboat partner. You never know.
Yeah.
Then, good. Okay, Joel, I'm not sure about this. Let's see. It sounds like the Cowboys making it to the postseason and losing in the first round.
Listen, here we go. So we're gonna go down that road. Listen, if the Cowboy fans stop acting so surprised, they would never have their feelings hurt when they don't go to the Super Bowl. It's not a surprise. I mean, I'm sorry. Look, this is how I tell my friend Ray. He's a Cowboys fan. And he said, it feels like going to the gates of Disney and not going in. I said, you acting surprised. Jerry only going to take you to the gate, show you what it looked like, and then turn the car back around. So why are you getting all upset about, you ain't going into Disney? So stop getting upset.
So Disney's not for you.
It's not. Just accept your position. Mr. Muhammad, I am so sorry. You got to accept your position and just understand you're going to be good practice for the teams that are going to the Super Bowl. I appreciate you. I love you, Steve. I love you.
We're not trying to start fights just yet, but if there is one, my popcorn.
he can be my friend because he understands where I'm coming from. So we could communicate. And it's all right. I'm so glad he said that, because here's the thing. It is okay if you don't have a ton of stuff in common with the people in your lifeboat. I am not your ordinary. I'm first of all, I'm not a Texan. I'm a New Yorker, and I'm not your ordinary New Yorker. I'm a lot different. So it is okay that Julie doesn't do some of the things I do. It is okay that Shamir doesn't do some of the things I do. They probably look at me like, that's crazy, and we're not doing it. But we're still in the lifeboat together. We can still save each other. I'm throwing the life raft because we can have conversation and build community around that.
I'm going to say I went through an exercise. David, maybe you have to tell me, it was maybe December or something. And I was like, I need to write down what is it I value in these people near me and try to guess what it is they value in me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what do you value in me? Because I want to know that there's some give and take in our relationship. I don't want to be the taker. I don't want to be around just takers. I want both of us to be growing in whatever relationship this is. And I would say that in talking with Shelyna in particular, I feel like I have definitely grown in some of the things, just doing what I'm doing right now in Pitranomics. There's Shantae that's on Facebook and Shelyna um, that are always encouraging me to get out and do some coaching and do some teaching. And I was like, I don't want to. No. But then, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying this platform at least.
Yeah. And I've put that battery. Look, you should see the note that I just wrote down for you before we even started. It says right here, get Juli started on her book. So you
I
need to
started my
have
book.
people
It's somewhere.
published and on Amazon. We need to have people in our lifeboat that push us to do the things that we said we were going to do, and maybe we haven't done it yet, to do the things that scare us, to do the things that we know we're good at, but sometimes we intimidate ourselves. Sometimes we say, oh, you know what, they're doing it so good, it's not for me. No, not only is she going to write that book, but she's going to be starting groups and cohorts that if people want to get in, it's going to be a premium price to get access to the premium teaching that she's going to do. So you need friends who see that in you and say, go on out there and do that because you are great at this. And sometimes we don't see because we've been doing it for so long. We're like, oh, you know, that's old for us. Yeah, it's whatever. But then that new person is like, oh, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Where can I buy it? So we need people in that lifeboat that are encouragers, that don't give up on us. And when I say that, I might not talk to you every single day, but don't give up on me and assume it's because I ain't got a problem with anybody. Don't assume that that's the issue. Assume that life has me in the chokehold because January was just fighting me. I mean, I still got the boxing gloves over there. Me and January was going at it. So a lot of people might not have heard from me, but that doesn't mean that I have cut anyone off. So we got to give grace.
And it doesn't mean I can't just check on you because I'm feeling like maybe you need to check in on.
That's it. So give grace and understand that if the people in your boat are poking holes in it and causing water to come in and now you look up because the water has come up to your neck and you're like, how are we in this situation drowning? Well, you weren't paying attention that they were poking holes in the boat. That was through the conversations y'all were having, where you were co-signing the negativity, where you were co-signing the, yeah, you know, we'll never be able to hit that, or look at how they do. We'll never be able to do that. Stop co-signing on stuff. And don't try to save everybody. If they bound to drown, just, I'm going to pray for you, but, oh, I can't jump in there with you.
And, you know, I'm glad that you brought that up because there are people that will poke holes in your lifeboat. What do you do? How do you get them out? And I'm going to say just a couple of things on that because I know that Shelyna's view is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to say you get them MFs out with a quickness. Shove them overboard. Don't worry about their future. Get them out. That is the Juli approach. Because once I see you're sabotaging me, I don't care about you no more. I don't care about a doggone thing about you no more. I had to bring out the bad grammar just to show how much I feel that. Because seriously, it's like if you're in there and you're paddling, but you're not doing well, but you're, you know, I see growth and potential. I'm attracted to potential. I love to get in there like, let me help you become better. Because I know people have reached in and helped me become better.
Yeah. But I'm a little different. We working on Juli's version. You know, I come from a place of granting grace in the boat simply because growing up, I needed a lot of grace. I was not the best kid. I was a pastor's kid, so I did everything I wasn't supposed to do. You told me to go left, I'm gonna go hard right and make sure you saw me going hard right. So I needed that grace. So I will see people poke holes in the boat and I will patch it and say, come here, let me talk to you real quick because I need you to see that you're causing us to drown. Because some people, and I used to say this, common sense is not common to everyone. And I used to coach. I coached soccer, high school girls and boys varsity. I coached volleyball. I coached basketball. And one of the things that I would see is potential, but then you would see players self-sabotage. And when I say that, what I mean is great potential, but bad attitude. And a lot of times they don't see that attitude stops them from moving forward. That attitude is them poking the holes in their boat. So yeah, I'm going to pull you to the side and have a conversation with you. because they don't understand sometimes they're in that moment of emotion, how it's affecting their future. Yeah, you might have a scout in the stands that thinks you're good, but they don't want to deal with that attitude.
They don't want to deal with that.
You're dealing with real estate professionals. I deal with real estate agents every single day. And I will hear some of them say, I don't know if I'm passionate about this anymore. Well, I'm okay with telling you maybe that real estate is not for you anymore. And you need to be okay with understanding yourself and saying, you know what? I think you're right. I think it's time for me to move on and do something else. So you're poking the hole in your boat by the negativity that you speak out there. I'm going to patch it for you. I'm going to pull you to the side and have a conversation and give you grace, because I really needed that. When who you see today is not who
Well,
Brooklyn. Okay, it was not
me
the same
too.
person.
I mean, that goes for me too. And there is a difference between someone I think is intentionally poking holes in my lifeboat to cause me to sink, and someone whose current situation is making them a little bit of a porcupine and they're just poking holes by accident.
I like that phrase, making them a porcupine. I like that.
Yeah, they're just poking holes by accident. And you know, that will happen. And here's the other thing about networking, because yesterday I went to check out one of my houses. And as I was leaving, I was like, there's a community garden over there. Right. And then I was driving away, and the friend that was in the car was like, did you want to go to the community garden? I was like, yes, I did. So we turned around and went back to the community garden, and I met an amazing person, someone that I want to have on Pitranomics. Really just, she runs the community garden. I bought some of the produce. Last night I had a delicious dinner of fresh kale and broccoli, and I'm going to send it to her and say, and tonight I'm going to have the rest of it, because it's amazing. Yeah. I wasn't looking for that connection. I thought I'll pick up some produce and go home. But I met an amazing person. That's networking. Yeah. How do you measure when you've been successful in networking? It's not, I'm going to go networking. It's, I'm open to network. Yeah. I'm open to people in my life. And you measure the success of it is, did you make a connection that made your cup a little fuller, that you see potential in you growing together? That's success in networking. Also success in networking, did you find a trade partner? Maybe if you're in real estate like I am, a lender or a title company or an insurance agent or so-and-so that helps your business go a little more smoothly or make it so you can grow. That's a success in networking. You have to know where you want to go, and then you can determine who's helping you get there. And when you recognize that someone's getting you there and their interests and your interests are congruent, so you're not sacrificing them to get you there. You're both heading somewhere.
Yeah, that's good. And to add to that, when you start thinking about people intentionality in causing you to drown, eventually you will notice that. And I'm big on this, if my name is mentioned in a room in any way that is different from who you know me and you don't speak up, I'm gonna have a problem with that. So what happens when that person is intentional about making sure that you're not successful? You'll find out real quick. You will start gaining some discernment, and you'll look around and you're like, this person is really not for me. They're really out here to sabotage me. I got to distance myself. I got to say, you know what we used to do, we can't do no more, because this person is intentional about saying, hey, listen, if I can't be better than you, then you can't be better than anything else. I got to poke holes in this boat. And it's not about that. It's anybody who knows me knows, if I'm doing something and I see that you can fit into this, I'm going to mention your name. I'm going to bring you with me. I'm going to say, hey, this person right here, consider them. And I want to give a shout out to Quentin Hill. He's a roofer, a local roofer. And in that same networking meeting that I was in, he took the time while we were communicating. He was the only vendor in the room, and there were a lot of vendors. The second vendor in the room who kneeled down and had a great conversation with me about roofing. And after that conversation, he followed up with a message. I think that's so important, because now he sticks out to me that if I get a client who needs a roof, guess who I'm calling? I'm calling, hey, Quentin, I got this client. They need a roof. Can you go help them out? Because he was intentional about not just here's my card, here's my card. Most of them, this is literally what they did. They had their flyers in their hand and they just set it down and kept walking. he was intentional about stopping and having a conversation. So the next time you go out, ask yourself, am I being intentional about having a conversation, or am I being intentional about avoiding people? Because that'll tell who you are real quick. And if you're trying to avoid people and you don't want to network, then if you're in a people business, might be some issues with that. But if you're in an isolation business, keep it going because you're doing great.
Well, you know what I will say, and maybe this is just the Juli weird perspective. I think I'm in a people business. I just don't like every people in the business.
Well, you're in a different side of it, Juli. You are in the people business because of the transactional piece. But when it comes to the other side, I don't want Juli communicating with people yet. No. We're going to leave that part alone. I'll be your chat GPT for now.
Thank you. This is my chat GPT. I know yesterday and today have been really interesting. And there are a couple of people that I'm like, I don't think you mean me well. Even though they can say all the things like, I this and I that, and I just love you. If that little voice is saying, listen, it's telling you something for a reason. It may be telling you just to pay attention. It may not be telling you anything bad, but pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention. Understood. That is so important. Pay attention to how people treat you. If somebody's my friend, I'll go hard for them. And pay attention to those who don't reciprocate. And sometimes it could be because they don't know how. Sometimes it could be because they don't value the same way that you value that relationship. So it doesn't.
Hold on, say that again. Say that again, because I need to hear that
remember again. What I said. Oh, sometimes they don't know how. Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh. I'm trying. Sometimes they don't reciprocate. That means that they don't value the relationship the same way that you do. And I had to learn that the hard way, where I would go hard to be like, I'd be out here promoting and pushing people and sharing their value and letting people know they are the greatest thing since sliced bread. And if they needed something, I was there at the drop of the dime. But when I was in need, it was crickets. It was, oh, well, I tried to reach you. It's like, but I was medicated. I couldn't answer anybody. So you got to be careful and understand not everyone comes from malicious intent. Some people don't know how. Some people are discovering or making changes on being a different person, and this is part of their growth process. So I try not to judge people too much because I'm growing, I'm changing, I'm being someone different, because the old me is like space and opportunity, that's all we need. The new me is like, you ain't got the bail money, so go sit down somewhere. So it's coming from a place of understanding people and understanding that we are not all the same and being okay with that.
Exactly. And being okay with it.
Yes.
And one of the things about a lifeboat is it's not static. The same people in your boat in your 20s may not be the same people in your boat in your 30s, or maybe the same boat mates when you were single aren't the same boat mates you need when you become married. The ones before you have kids, there's a timing issue to who needs to be in your lifeboat too. The other thing I'm going to add about who should be in your lifeboat, your coach, your mentor, they should be in your lifeboat.
And they are not the same. A coach is not the same as a mentor. Let's be clear. They are not.
That is so true. And people get it confused.
Yeah.
And I have had excellent in both, a good coach and a good mentor. And where I am right now, I was thinking about this earlier today. I have had excellent inspiration and direction from birth.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff I talk about in Pitranomics, I've gotten from my parents, from my mom mostly. And then the other part came from the Pitra that I married, my husband, and what his family brought to the table.
Right.
I feel like, I can't remember who I was talking to about my marriage and about why I'm married, who I married, how we're married.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people I have heard throughout our history say, you guys don't look like you're this, or you don't look like you're that, or you should be more this. And I'm just like, we obviously don't want the same things. But I married a man with high integrity, with someone who puts me and then our children first, who thinks about his future and puts his efforts toward providing for us.
I love
I
that.
don't know what all these other people are seeking. That whatever that is, that's not what I want. I went for what I want. I have a great husband. Now, does he drive me crazy? Yes. Do I drive him crazy? Probably not. It's probably just him driving me.
Oh, Julie.
The lightning bolt. But I mean, do we always see eye to eye? No. Do we argue? Right. Occasionally. But if there's ever something that we're like, family is under attack from something, or we got to deal with something, or we come together like this, fix the problem, and then we go back to it. Another thing in your life is, okay, who should be, how do you know? Are you successful at making sure they're in there or not? Are you getting out the people that when it's time to go?
Yeah, that's good.
You got to make you get them out when you need to go. And how do you overcome the anxiety that some people might feel when looking for these new people? Because I've heard some people say, I don't feel comfortable talking to people. I am uncomfortable talking to people. There's probably, I do not like talking to people I don't know about nothing I want to talk about. I'm not good at that at all. But I love talking to people that I like about things I love to talk about. Right. But I have to go from the people I don't know at all, that I know nothing about. That's a path. How do I get there? If I never talk to them, ever, I can never get to seeing if they're a potential lifeboat partner. If I don't engage, I don't fill my boat. So I have to overcome the anxiety. How do I do that? I do it by not being afraid to look like a damn fool. That's my trick. It's like,
that's good.
If I make a mistake, it's okay.
That shows that you're relatable versus someone who's got to be right all the time, who's got to know it all the time. That doesn't show, that shows people some sense of superiority where they feel like they cannot relate to you at all because nothing they say or do is going to be correct. And what I usually tell people is I am an introvert, right? So the way to get through that is when you walk in a room, find something about the person and have a conversation with them. I am looking at you, Mr. Muhammad, and I see an old school CPU behind you. That
oh my God, that is old.
Okay. So that when I saw him, that's what drew my attention. So that is the first thing that if I was looking to have a conversation, that's what I'm going to use to start the conversation. So I find something about the person that's interesting, and I can walk up to a complete stranger and say, oh my goodness, I love your glasses frames. Where did you get those? I was talking to you, Julie. Oh, where'd you get those? I love those. Where did you get those? And see what the first thing she did was she smiled because you complimented them. And sometimes that's what someone is looking for. Someone could be and I'm not asking you to go out there and put a Superman cape on. Superman ain't coming and Batman's just rich. Only thing that you're responsible for is how you left someone feeling that day. If you left someone feeling like crap, that's going to be on you. If you walked into somebody's life and intentionally made them feel a certain way, that's going to be held against you. Me, if you are one of those negative people that it don't matter what somebody say to you, you just going to have a bad day. Okay. I'm going to compliment you and I'm going to walk away. And I remember this one time I was in Costco and this lady had this thing in the cart and my husband was like, oh, where did she get that? So I walk up to her and I'm like, hi, excuse me, where did you get that? She ignored me. I'm like, ma'am. And then probably after the fourth time, she says, no, thank you. Oh, no, not today. So after I said what I said and we had that conversation, I walked away and I was like, I can't let that conversation change anything about how I interact with the next person. So I'm going to put a smile on. And when I go to the meat section, I'm on smile at the guy. And he says to me, hold on, don't pick that one. And I'm like, what's wrong with y'all meat? He goes in the back and I'm watching as the guy is packaging something up and he brings me meat that is heavier than what the weight is, priced at a different price. Now, don't y'all be going to my Costco trying to get the same deal. That's my friend and I'm not sharing. But he must have seen the interaction that happened. And when I walked away, I didn't treat him any differently. So that anxiety comes up sometimes because people are afraid of rejection. When you're afraid of rejection, it is because you are making it about you. Because I feel like you're going to reject me. I feel like you're not going to speak to me. No, I'm okay with that. I've had enough rejection in my life that I'm not about to let some grown woman who looked like the okay. I'm not about to let some adult who might have been having a bad moment dictate how I treat everyone else, because then that fear of rejection, that's what causes people to have anxiety. They don't want to talk to someone because they think they're going to be rejected. The next time you go out, trust me, it works. Compliment someone. Compliment enough people that they smile, that you walk out smiling. It works. Trust me.
And you know what? Here's another thing. And what did you just say? Don't take the
People.
crappy energy and take it
Oh,
to the next person.
yes.
Love that. Because sometimes something will happen and I'll be like, ah. And there have been a couple of times lately that David's like, why are you letting that bother you? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, good now. It's somebody that gives you a
Yeah.
little pride that says, let that go. Okay, done. Let it go. You know, sometimes you need to do that. We have a comment from Facebook. A healthy connection, I think, is one that we support each other's pursued purpose and not trying to compete or sabotage. Always be on the lookout.
Listen, the
And
only
that's
time I want to compete with my friends is when they come and challenge me. Hey, you said you was gonna make 250,000 last year. I ain't see you make it. What happened? That's the kind that I want in my life, where they're like, listen, we set these goals. I mean, I did it. What happened to you? Because now it's like, oh yeah, I did say that. I did say I was gonna do something and I didn't do it. So was I really intending on doing it, or did I say it because it sounded good? And that going back to what David did for you, you need those people in your lifeboat who are going to say, hey, listen, that's not you. Do you need a Snickers? Because whatever just happened, don't blame everybody else for it. Okay. That situation was isolated. Don't bring that over, because you can actually ruin relationships that way by treating people how that last person made you feel. And now I could have walked through that whole Costco just going off on everybody who looked and said something. But instead, I turned around, I went back over here to what I was doing, and that gentleman said, hold on, went in the back and did something that I didn't ask him to do. So you got to be careful, because when you're networking with people, you can have that sense of, oh, I just feel rejected, so I'm not going to talk to anybody else. No, don't let that stop. Let them look at you knowing that what they just did didn't affect you, because otherwise you have just
didn't
given
rock your boat.
power to change it. No, you're not gonna. No, this ain't the Titanic. We're not sinking because I ran into you and it was a negative encounter. We're gonna keep this thing rocking and rolling down the other way.
And you know what? Let's talk about rejection.
Hmm.
This rejection and why it's supposed to be so bad. You know what? I figure if someone doesn't like me or doesn't want me around, you have saved me the effort that I might otherwise waste on trying to make you someone a part of my life. Thank you for
Yeah.
being so clear that you don't want me around. And honestly, that was my mindset in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, I am clearly never going to want you around me, so just skedaddle.
Mm-hmm.
I still do it, but I don't do it as overtly all the time. Sometimes I do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
feeling you, go away. But rejection is not necessarily a bad thing. It is taking you out of the path of maybe something unpleasant down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Let that person move you out of their way, because you didn't need to be there anyway.
Yeah. And while you were
That's
saying
how they're
that,
acting.
I looked up the definition of rejection because it's so widely used. And rejection is the dismissing or refusing of a proposal or idea. And so because someone says, hey, I don't want, like, you've ever gone through Costco and they trying to feed you at the corner, at every single corner? No, I'm okay. That person is not going to go home, shut the blinds in their house, and drink themselves to sleep because you didn't want that little snack. We are taking rejection to a whole nother level, and we are allowing it to manifest in our minds that because they rejected me, I'm no good. Because they rejected me, I can't succeed. How many times, Julie, have you called someone and said, hey, I want to buy your property, and they said, no, thank you, and you moved on to the next one? So we have to say to ourselves, okay, they rejected the idea, because that's what rejection is. They rejected the idea of buying real estate. They rejected the idea of me saying something or moving the way that I did. That doesn't change who you are. And some people take rejection and they allow it can cause mental health issues. And if it's not dealt with, if you don't deal with whatever trauma caused your rejection, it will manifest into your career. It will manifest into every facet of it will manifest into relationships. You can push people away because you feel isolated because they didn't invite you to something. You don't need to go to everything. You don't need to be involved in. Look, there's some friends who have stuff that I said yes to, and I should have said no.
Should have said no.
And you got to learn that just
and then you're there going, I should have said no.
That part. Then you have to understand that just because they said no, that no could be a not right now. That no could be a setup for you to move into something different. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes God will close the door because he's trying to get you to something better. You want the small stuff, and he's like, I'm trying to get you this. And you try to get this.
Take your eye off that.
So if you're rejected, count it as a, you know what, thank you so much. I needed to hear that today, because you're not perfect. There is no one who on this earth who is perfect. So
wait, hold on.
No. Yeah, I know, Julie. I know. But remember that person you cussed out last week? No, I'm just kidding. So when you start thinking about being rejected and how it affects you, the next time you feel the anxiety of being rejected, you just say, you know what, I'm okay with that, because it's setting me up faster to get to the next person or next opportunity or the next deal. I'll give you one quick example, and then I'll be quiet. So at the event that we had, there was one particular lady who was just negative. Every time someone approached her, table or a booth, just negative. And I had the opportunity to get on a meeting with her. And in that meeting, she asked me, what's your fee? I said, what's my fee? She wants to hire me to come and teach at over 27 locations. Now, had I dismissed her the way that everybody else dismissed her, because of the way she responded, that door wouldn't have opened. So I could have been afraid of rejection and been like, I'm not setting up no meeting with her because I don't want to be told no. Instead, I said, you know what? That's her personality. I made an excuse for the way she behaved. And I said, that's her personality. And it worked in my favor. So you got to be careful of avoiding conversations because you're afraid that someone's going to tell you no. It's okay. You're not going to be told yes every single time. You won't.
And nor should you be, and nor should you want that for yourself, because that's making you spread yourself too thin. So let's talk about that for a minute. Somebody else's negative attitude does not make them in all an undesirable person. Could be a point in time. It could be a reaction to something that maybe you're not seeing, and that's a great example. I'm going to share something that may sound negative, but it was a very strong blessing in my life. So I was embarrassed at a networking function by someone who had done better in a particular deal situation than I had. I had the opportunity to put it in the bag and I didn't. This person put it in the bag and was talking about how successful it was, and then had the nerve to call me out and say, Juli Pitra had the opportunity to take this deal, but she didn't see what I saw and passed on it and blah, blah, blah. And there are two ways you can take that kind of public calling out. You can say, I can't believe that MF called me out like that. I'm never going to like him, blah, blah, blah. That's one way, right? I went up to him and said, you obviously know something I don't know. Are you willing to share? Because I want to know it too.
Yeah. So
sometimes it's your attitude. You don't ascribe the notion that it's negative against you, that someone's not feeling you at the moment, or that you're embarrassed by someone at the moment. If someone says something to me that sounds negative, I become hyper-focused because it may be a point of learning. What do you mean by that? Explain that. How do you mean? Now that might scare some people, but I'm like, you have said something, you clicked my focus on you. I want to know more about what that is you mean.
And that's one of my favorite things when I'm either coaching or mentoring with someone and they say something that I need further understanding, I say, tell me more about that.
Tell me
Even
more about that.
if I'm cold calling a buyer or a seller, if I'm talking to a friend who thinks negatively of the market, tell me more about that. Because sometimes we misjudge what they're saying, or we assume what they're saying and we put words in their mouths. Oh, you don't want to buy because the rates are high. So I understand. So I'm not going to talk to you about buying or selling real estate. When in actuality, they don't care about the rates. They're scared because they don't have enough money for a down payment. And you told them about interest rates. So sometimes we have to slow down, stop assuming things about people, and ask, tell me more about, how does that affect you? How does that make you feel? I've said that several times, even to my kids. Like, why does somebody else doing this make you feel that way? And then after that, it's like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't. Or if someone says, like in your situation, that actually happened to me in law school. That was why I dropped out of law school, was because the professor did that in front of the entire class. And I wasn't in the mindset that you were in. I was in the mindset of, well, I'm gonna sabotage my entire education because I don't like you. And that's when I dropped out of law school. Now, fast forward, I'm glad that I did, but I really missed the activity of shall I say, law. So it was a blessing because I would not be here if I did not. But then it also shows the juxtaposition of what you just said. One person will take it and say, huh, tell me more about that opportunity. And another person will get in their feelings and say, well, that's it, I'm out. So that professor didn't care that I dropped. No care in the world, because they already have a law degree. So
think about the law cases you could have won.
Listen, lawyers will always be in business as long as real estate agents keep doing stuff they ain't supposed to be doing. I said it out loud. Y'all keep messing up, I'm gonna go take this LSAT test. I'm going to take it.
That's going to be my next career. So we have Evan that wrote, some people brighten up a room when they come in.
That's right.
And some people brighten up a room when they leave.
Come on. I have seen the ones that brighten it when they leave. Now, well, you know, this true story. I had to tell somebody once, listen, we're supposed to be working on this project and your energy right now is not it. And she did not receive it in a negative way. She self-correct. She was like, oh man, yeah, you're right. I'm like, we're supposed to be getting something done and you're bringing a lot of negative energy. So sometimes you might need to pull somebody to the side and be like, listen, what you're doing right now is not being productive. And I don't want to be that person where you walk in a room and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, here they are. They walked in the room. No, you're going to walk in the room and sometimes, and I'm teaching a class and I say, good morning. And if I don't get a response, y'all know what I do. I'm sorry. Am I in this room by myself? So Marcia Fudge, my soror, Marcia Fudge is one of my favorites and she does that. So you don't want to judge because somebody could be having a terrible, terrible day that has nothing to do with you. But at the same time, what Juli just said was so critical. What can I learn from this moment? Because she must have made an impression on him for him to remember her first and last name and that she was a part of that deal. So I think it's really important to dive deeper and say, tell me more about that.
Tell me more about that. And I want to say one thing. There's a person on here who is constantly sort of down on himself about how he comes across to people and how he speaks to people. And he made his first TikTok and it was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. I was looking at that going, how come I don't see that guy every day? That was it. It was great. So you know who you are. If you want to speak to it, fine. But
listen, tell them to come tutor me in TikTok, because I turned TikTok off when I realized my kid was on it. And I'm like, we can't share the same platform. So let me go back over here.
Yeah, but you probably won't, because their For You page is going to be a little different. I'm sure that their things are going to be.
Yeah, she over there dancing on TikTok. I don't want no parts of that. But yeah, if I can learn the platform better, I would do. But I love that, because sometimes you can be who you are authentically. And I don't know if that person wants to come forward. You could put it in the chat if not, but I would love for you to share how you had that shift, because somebody might want to network with you now, seeing, oh, wow, I love that they did that. I really want to learn how they did that.
I was very impressed. I was very impressed. And I'm going to say, I used to have this anxious quirk, we'll call it that whenever I tried to speak to someone that made me a little nervous, my throat would spontaneously make this noise. And it sounded a little something like,
what? I don't know what that was. That sounded like my car.
And so it wasn't my throat would just growl. It was a sign that I was nervous. And it was something I had for like years, probably up until about age 29. This is what
Wow. So when you met someone that you felt was of influence or something like that?
if I was uncomfortable.
Okay.
So there are a lot of reasons that I might be uncomfortable in a group of people. But then I decided to go to grad school and I had to drive from Colorado Springs to St. Louis. And during that drive, I basically told myself that I was never going to have my throat growl anymore. It was the most embarrassing thing because it spirals. Once that happens, then you get tighter and you're more nervous and the thing gets louder and you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I talked to myself positively. So sometimes you touched on this. Sometimes you can inadvertently poke through somebody's lifeboat, and sometimes you can inadvertently poke through your own.
Yeah.
And how do you call it? You call it self-limiting beliefs. You have to start being one of your own great lifeboat partners.
That's it. Put your own cape on and stop waiting for somebody else to come save you. And Julie, to your point, I've learned a long time ago, I don't get celebrity or starstruck. I have met celebrities. I have met a lot of people where other people might fan out. I've learned a long time ago, they're human just like me. We might have different bank accounts. We might have different net worths and people we know, but they are human just like me. And when I learned that lesson, the first time I learned it, I was a kid and I had met LL Cool J. And I was standing there and I'm like, this dude is just a regular dude. Like, why are people so infatuated? Like, okay, he's a regular person. So after that, it was just like, you're just human. You just have a skill and a talent that other people don't have, but you're human. No, I ain't getting worked up. Oh my God, we gotta go see Beyonce. I ain't messing with y'all Beyonce people. Don't come for me, but you won't see me paying a month's mortgage to go see nobody I can see on YouTube. I'm just saying. Don't come for me. Don't come for me. Leave me alone.
So hopefully you've taken some important things away about networking. First, be authentically yourself so you can connect with the people you're supposed to connect with, okay? Don't be afraid of rejection. Rejection is just taking people off your short list that don't need to be on there anyway. Always come from a position of synergy, so that's give and take. Now, if you're looking for someone to always take from, you're a scam artist.
Ooh.
And if you're always looking to be in the position someone's taking from you, you got some issues, maybe some therapy, but you're somewhat, masochistic. So it should be give and take. Now, not give and take the same things, but I should get something from the relationship and they should get something from the relationship. And it doesn't have to be along the same channel. Like, for example, I did something my daughter does, and I'm going to share this and hopefully she's not embarrassed. My daughter sometimes needs encouragement and she is not afraid to ask for it. And she will call and say, I need some compliments. And she doesn't mean, oh my gosh, you're wonderful. She wants very specific insight as to why she's fabulous. Because maybe she's feeling a little less strong in her fabulousness, right. Sure enough. And she comes straight at you. Give me some. I need it. I love that in her. So I came at her yesterday because yesterday was a bit for me. I was like, I need some. And after a long delay, because it took her too long to get back to me, I got some. I was like, did pretty well with that. She's back in the boat.
Wow, she learned about
She's back in the boat. So just don't forget that rejection can be a blessing. Discernment is a must. You must always look at the people carefully. And you can't always go back to historical. You have to look at where people are right now, because just because they were there at another point in your life doesn't mean this is where they can be now. I saw this saying on YouTube, or not YouTube, on TikTok. It was like, some people who were there for you in the struggle, they're great at being co-patriots in the struggle, but they aren't good at being co-patriots in the abundance. And you got to figure that out.
That's good. That's good.
So, and learn how to ask for help, learn how to put it out there so you can get the help you need. And I'm struggling on that. So hopefully everyone got something from this that they can take from it. I appreciate, we got another, I appreciate everybody's, and
He's so silly. I'm sitting here reading and trying not to bust.
Like,
And listen,
Evan's like,
let
sounds
me
like
end it on this,
dating. He was
Julie.
like, I don't date anymore, so I don't have any problems with rejection.
Let
There's
me tell you something. You know, I when I work out on my Peloton, there's this one instructor. She used to say something that was so annoying, but she would talk about motivation and she would talk about pushing and encouraging yourself. And she has this thing that she says, no ego, amigo. Get to where you need the help and reach out for the support. It used to annoy me because I'm like, oh my gosh, do you have to speak in Spanish? And it's like, no, it's no ego, my friend. It's sometimes it's not really about you. It's about how you can help someone else. And in turn, the more people you help, it will come back to you.
And you know what? Being willing to help someone might show somebody that's watching you that you're also worthy of receiving help.
Yes. Giving you shall receive. Yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So anyway, we have gone way past.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank you guys
Julie.
so
I
much. I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
this. I'll see you next week. Mwah, mwah.
Yes. Bye,
Take
guys. Have
care.
a great
Thank you
evening.
guys for joining us. Have a good
Bye-bye.
one. Bye-bye.